All right, we have an opportunity to look at the issues surrounding the swearing-in ceremony. As you all know, today is a really monumental and a landmark achievement taking place today as we witness the swearing-in ceremony, wherein the governor-elect Senator Okpebholo will be taking office as the governor of Edo State, the executive governor of Edo State, occupying Osadebe Avenue to help implement policies in order to bring betterment to the people of Edo State. Joining me to discuss this, from my extreme left, I have a development economist, and is also the chairman of Economic Society of Nigeria Edo State chapter, and he is Dr. Igberise. Thanks for coming, Dr. Francis Igberise.
Thank you very much, Philip.
Next to Dr. Francis Igberise, I still have with me Bishop Austin Igbasan, who is the senior pastor of Sword of Liberation Bible Church. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers.
And also thanks for sustaining your presence, Malam Nuruddin Asunogie, a legal practitioner and a Muslim cleric.
Thank you for having me. Morning, viewers.
All right, let's get your thoughts, Dr. Igberise, on what you see as the monumental achievements so far. Elections must have come and gone, but it came with its challenges anyways. But today we have a governor-elect that will be sworn in as the governor of Edo State. What are your thoughts on what you see as a very groundbreaking event for today?
Well, thank you very much, Philip. First of all, let me once again, on behalf of the Nigeria Economic Society, Edo State chapter, to congratulate the governor-elect who will be sworn in today. I would say that I think really at this point we shouldn't be bothering ourselves talking about what happened in the past. What we should be interested in now is setting agenda for the new government that is going to take off today. And in that, I will say, first of all, his performance is going to be determined by the caliber of people he appoints in prayer. Many people may not know that it is not really the governor that performs. The governor has only one brain, and as you grow, your brain is like a pyramid, not taking everything. So you select your aides, you select your cabinets. I will just, because of time factor, I will just advise the governor-elect not to over-politicize his appointment as a way of satisfying political groups and using them as rewards for those who contributed to his success. No, there is one thing the military did better than the civilian. When you have a military governor, he goes for head hacks in the universities, in the industries, to come and be part of the government. But since the advent of military of a democratic regime, most of the governors, most of the presidents, they over-politicize their cabinets. And that is one factor that is not leading us anywhere in terms of delivering the dividends of democracy. And then I would also like to seize this opportunity to tell him that a square peg should be in a square hole. I have an experience, but time will not permit me to relate. We had, when I was very young, we had an encounter with Okpebholo, General Okpebholo. He told us, when you hear that Okpebholo performed, it was not Okpebholo, it was the people he impressed. Specifically, I remember he used, the university here, University of Benin. Okpebholo established University of Benin. Okpebholo himself told us it was E.K. Crack who established University of Benin. So that is that of a humble man. But in all, I would just want to tell him, whatever agenda anybody is setting, now, those who do not know where we are in the global development matrix should not be allowed. It should not give them the chance to dictate the pace of our growth and development. Otherwise, we will remain where we are. We will remain where we are.
Thank you.
That does not mean that I am not saying that politicians should not be appointed. I'm actually talking of a means whereby you have people who bring in new things, people who bring in intellectual discourse, people who bring in congent development issues.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's get to you, Bishop Austin. Let's look at what we have here and what you see as the first thing that they should be doing in office to bring about the need to look at the perspective of progress in Edo State. As we have it, he's already appointed Fred Itwa to be the Chief Press Secretary. And just as he's been sworn in today, that also will be taking preeminence after the swearing in of Monday Okpebholo as governor. So what do you see as the first assignment that they should be doing?
I think Mr. Governor, as he's being sworn in, will look at the issue of security in Edo State. The loss of life we are suffering for some time now. That issue is topical, that the governor must go into it and look for how to deal with it and save life. Then number two, take time to study, set up a think tank. This think tank might not really be commissioners. They might not be special advisor. There will be people that will give him a blueprint of some of the things he has to do. These are people, intellectual people, people that are practical, that are close to the people, that the really downtrodden people. That these people will be a think tank. They can just be 5 or 6. What you see in Lagos, that they praise and praise and praise people, is just the work of a think tank. They are never seen outside. There are people in the church we call the intestine minister. You don't see intestine of somebody now. You cannot say somebody is fine because you saw the intestine.
They are always behind the scene.
Behind the scene. Let these people sit down and say, this is how to go. Let them be more powerful in taking decision and giving some of the things that His Excellency will be doing behind the scene. Also, the issue of memorandum of understanding that have been done by the last government, that they should take time to study. They should not just, let us not keep enmity. The memorandum of understanding that benefit Edo State people should be perused. Let all be perused, and the one that benefits should be sustained. And also, I also encourage the incoming governor to look at all the projects that have to do with the people, that no project should be abandoned. Let it not be that, oh, I didn't like this man, they did it, they spoiled me when I was campaigning, oh, because of this I won't do that. There's something Wike did that gave him a kind of star in Rivers State. All the projects that Amechi left, he did it. Even tar road to Amechi's community. So the projects that have to do with the people should be checked. And also, as a sitting governor coming on board, now this is dry season. It is the time to study. Thank God that Senator Okpebholo was once in GRA with his leg inside the flood. So I want to also beg him that tape is still available, that he should go and also look at what can be done during this dry season to make sure that when rain fall in Benin, in Edo State, that people will be able to access their place. He should do something about erosion control during this dry season. It is something, because if he fails to do that, people will remind him that is one of the things he used to campaign, and he was inside with his leg barefooted inside the flood. So he should look at the issue of the flood and look at what can be done during this dry season to fix. If you look at the town, you see a lot of infrastructural deficit. I'm talking about road and how people can, if rain fall today, 20 minutes rain, you might not be able to access your house. There are people that have to leave their car somewhere to be able to access where they're going to. These are things that are dear to the heart of the people. I encourage the governor, as he come on board, Ministry of Works, let him set up something like a FEMA. That will be it can be retired officers who are engineers, that they will be able to fix road. They will not allow it to get to a deplorable condition, that when there's pothole, they come in there and fix it there before the team, because this is the wisdom of General Obasanjo that time, that before we wait for the administrative bottleneck of Ministry of Works and the Federal Executive Council, FEMA, whenever there is a crack on the road, go there and fix it, so that it does not develop into what we disturb our people.
Okay, let's look at political unity in forging ahead what should Monday Okpebholo do as the governor, looking at the need to put heads together to make sure that the unity of the political system in Edo State, meets the progress of Edo?
Well, when you talk about political unity, I do not think there's a difference between them except in the area of sharing. That's where they become different. What I would expect that will be done is that the past 8 years, we saw the effective deracination of the culture of impunity. And a number of us are held under this monumental trepidation that a return is most likely. You can't succeed anywhere when there is indiscipline. Discipline is core to the issue of unity that you spoke about. And the one who will deal with the issue of discipline must be one who has not allowed for the emasculation of the space for critical thinking. Because if you don't have that space, for example, then anything would fly. We must deepen our knowledge. We must deepen the language of appreciation of wanting to belong or creating a culture of belongingness and not one of conformity. Oh, I'm just there because I am, I just do not have a choice. And I think that is what will happen. I'll tell you most frankly, behind the scene, I have spoken with those I think who said they are close to him to say, hey, let him appreciate the fact that he is going to be the governor after the election. And if he's going to be the governor, it will mean that the buck will stop on his table. He must be ready to take responsibility. I have seen too much of outsourcing of that responsibility. And I'm afraid, because to those whom it is outsourced, they are hoggish. They are not doing what they do on the basis of altruism. And so when you have that confronting us, we will run into serious problem. When people occupy a space, they get respected, they get feared, not on the basis of what they are, what they represent in the progressive trajectory, but because of the infinite capacity they have to unleash terror. Then that's serious. And so if you are coming into that political space and you are going to be an enabler, a potentiator of those elements, then we run into serious problem. You can't honestly have development because it will be scaring. Okay. So if he must succeed along this line, it will be that I am in charge. Until and unless you are bringing something that will ultimately benefit the state, please, I keep you at abeyance. Would that happen? You know, it could happen if the people honestly count. Because what people fear more often than not is that no sooner they get elected into office than they begin to think of, oh, I have this entitlement mentality that I have to do 8 years. And so you accommodate all manners of persons, even when they are trashed, that ought to be trashed ab initio. Okay. If you have used a sanitary pad, for example, because that's what some of them are, you don't begin to admire it after it has done the job. Trash it. That's what they should do with some of these persons, and that way we move forward. Okay.
Now, how should he perceive the opposition? Should he perceive the opposition as what he should criminalize as regards the outgoing government? Or should he see it as a way of coming in synergy with what he can benefit from what they left?
If he comes in with the mindset that the one going or the one gone is an enemy, it will mean that both emotional, psychological resource will be dissipated over rubbish. What you do is identify what was good in that person, except he's a perfectionist. And every perfectionist is a dangerous human being. Identify what was good in that person. Draw inspiration from what was good in that person. What was negative about him, see how you can transform that, how you could change what was whatever. Sometimes when you do not occupy a position, you become a very fine driver. When you're on the wheel, you see things differently. As he sits there, he will begin to appreciate and will have greater empathy for the man who is gone. Okay. And even if he had done wrong, compassion will do much better than when you come with the spirit of revenge.
So you don't agree with him probing the past administration?
Well, if he says he wants to probe, I have no problem with you wanting to probe, but ask yourself the question, what do I intend to achieve with the probe? If the probe is intended to move the state forward, I have no problem with that. I am not even sure that the one who is gone is afraid of being probed. But if you are probing because some other persons are prompting you to do the probing, that will amount to a profligation of the time that you would have used for more constructive things.
Thank you very much.
If there are things that didn't go well, you can invite the man, like we were told Abacha would do with the person who was there before him. Name I will not mention that. We can't find this fund. Can you assist us? Okay, I have it somewhere, and they bring.
Okay.
Nobody went to public domain, and he got the money to do what he wanted to do.
Okay, you can choose to react to what he said, but let's look at you as a development economist.
Yeah.
What do you see as viable projects, economic objectives that Okpebholo's administration should focus on in the first 100 days of office?
Yeah, this is very, very clear because it's going to be by the law of comparative advantage and what the people needs that are battling the people now. That's why I said, first of all, he must be able to get a set of people that sit down to evaluate and know where we stand in the matrix of development, which differ from country to country, from locality to locality. But in Edo, we must identify our targets. So the summary of it is that you get people who know. You don't assume to know everything simply because you are a governor. You don't fight war, but you don't assume to know everything. Get the people who know. When you get, one thing about economists is that it's like taking the patient to the theater, and you have these doctors, but they have to determine what is wrong, do diagnosis tests, and know what is wrong with the patient.
Okay.
But what we have today is what we bemoan as economists, what we cry about. For instance, the last administration, at a point, I was secretary of Nigeria Economic Society. We wrote a letter to the governor to ensure that the economic team...
Sorry, when you said the last administration, are you referring to the outgoing?
The outgoing.
Okay.
The outgoing. So we wrote a letter to the governor to ensure that the economic team has economists. And that can happen in other professions. You imagine an economic team that has no economist. And people are becoming accidental economists. People are becoming, instead of oriental economists, just simply because they find themselves in government. People are, at best, you have pseudo-economists. Maybe they are not trained economists. They have had the opportunity to have worked in economic institutions. They have taken themselves to be economists. Okay. But at the end of the day, the final reply we got, having been in government house, was that the governor himself, we should not worry, that the governor himself was an economist. That was, to us, didn't make sense.
Okay, well, I asked you a very pertinent question, and I expect that you go straight to giving me the answer, basically as it pertains to what viable objectives or projects you want him to do in 100 days in office.
Yeah, there are models. In the first 100 days in office, when you want to focus employment of the people, you don't even need to have a figure now. Then you look at agriculture and its value chain.
Okay, but he already has a figure. He said in 100 days, it's going to bring about 5,000 employment of teachers.
That's the point I'm making. That is what I'm making. If he says he's going to have 5,000 employment of teachers, that should be statutory.
Okay.
That is not what we are talking about. A government should not see that as an achievement. That's it. Because students must be taught, the pupils must be taught that you employ teachers from internally generated revenue or for the federal allocated revenue should not be seen as an achievement.
Okay, way forward in 15 seconds.
The way forward, like I have said, is nothing more than to bring in people who know, because it's a dynamic society.
Okay.
It's getting dynamic. For us to sit down here and just set the full agenda now may not work. But when you bring in people, like the bishop also said, when you have this think tank, it is a continuum.
Okay.
And only people who know
Thank you, Dr.
that
Berese.
can continue to evaluate and bring about policies
Thank you, Dr.
that will
Berese.
help him.
Let's get your final comments in 15 seconds.
I want the governor is a gentleman, and I know he is not an arrogant person, and he's a very humble person that is accessible to all. And I want him to continue with that frequency of accessibility, because if you are not accessible, you see, throughout the 8 years, there was no phone call program. I want the governor, when he assume office, he should have a program on television where people can call him, and they would say, we are calling from so place. This is what I want you to do, sir. Let the closeness and let his policy have human face.
Thank you.
This will keep him in the heart of the people.
Thank you. Your final comments in 30 seconds.
Well, I will want to appeal to him that he does not make himself a battleground for those who claim to have supported him. That's the only way he succeeds.
Big thanks, Malam Nuruddin Asunoge and Bishop Austin Igbasa, and of course, Dr. Francis Igbe Raise.